This is heavy duty to be blunt, you know.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm going to draw your attention to something very specific. On the serve, as we look at these examples, we're going to look at the setup, which is this, the trophy pose, the racket drop, and we're going to look at contact. And in those three positions, we're simply going to ask the question, where is the body facing and where is the hand facing? So on setup here, the body is turned a little bit past perpendicular to the baseline. And if Novak were to open up his hand and just make it flat, it would be facing pretty close to right down the baseline. So the body is turned past the baseline and the hand is facing down the baseline to begin with. So that's position one, is the setup.
Okay.
Yeah, position two is when the racket drops. So that's position one. Now Novak's chest is facing along the baseline and his hand, if you were to open up his palm, is facing to the left. So it's transitioned 180 degrees. It started facing right and now it's facing left. And now at contact, the third position, we're going to tie it all together in a bit. His chest is facing about the net post. Are you seeing it over there? And his hand is facing his target. The third position, to open his palm up. So his hand has gone from facing to the right to facing to the left to facing forwards at the target. So it's gone through a big transition from facing right to left to forwards. And what that's doing is stretching his arm and his shoulder and then releasing that stretch in the contact. On paper, in theory, does that all make sense?
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so there's a big rotational release happening here, and that's what people refer to as the snap on the serve. And you brought in the word pronation. That's what this finishing position is usually referred to as. So we're going to look at the same three positions. We've got setup position. So in your setup position, you're almost perpendicular to the baseline with your chest. It'd be nice to have a little more turn, but similar to your forehand, you're doing relatively well. We could strengthen it, but it's not terrible. Like I see a lot of people start facing forwards and there's no body rotation at all. So you're getting like most of the way back there. Serena and Novak were turned a little bit past that, but you're in the ballpark. Your hand, on the other hand, starts by facing upwards. If you were to open your hand up, this, and you mentioned this in your notes, like this is the the classic waiter tray kind of. This is one of the toughest. It's in my opinion, in my experience working with players, this is the singular toughest technical thing to fix because it's so out of sight, out of mind. All your attention is up here. Meanwhile, back here we've got this going on, and it's so tough to really know because we're so detached from the action. Yeah,
you just can't feel it. At least I can't feel. I don't feel that.
I totally believe you. I totally believe you. Okay. I've seen this hundreds of times. Like I totally understand where you're coming from. So that's position one, the setup. Position two would be drop or stretch. But as you probably already noticed, like that's not going to be a part of the motion here. Mm-hmm. You're going from setup and then basically transitioning directly into going towards the ball. So there really isn't ever a hand facing to the left position. Remember, the pros started with their hand facing right, and then they transitioned to hand facing left. That set up the stretch to then unwind or snap towards the ball, and we don't have either of those. Your hand starts up, stays up, and then continues up to contact.
Now that was pronation there, right? But
not yet. Not yet. What pronation refers to the inward turn of the forearm.
Yeah. So if I go from this to this.
So you tell me, is your hand or your forearm changing position between here and here? Have they changed position?
No.
Watch after contact. Now they're turning. And so you're hitting your position here is very, very strong. This is a great athletic football quarterback or like baseball pitcher kind of release position with the arm, the shoulder, the body. It's super strong. If I just looked at this in a vacuum, I didn't know anything else that happened, I'd be like, wow, it's a good athlete. Like it looks really strong. And then if I continued the video and I saw this release, I'd say, wow, yeah, it's really athletic. He's releasing the racket. But what I wouldn't know is that there wasn't any stretch to release in the first place. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Almost kind of the whole point of finishing with the hand facing that way is to release energy of the hand facing this way to begin with. But none of that's happening, which means that, in my opinion, the move from here to here is just window dressing. Like it's happening after the ball is left, and there isn't any stretch before the racket hits the ball, which means all of that turning, it's just kind of for show.
Dressing on the turkey.
It's all for show and not for go.
Yeah.
As they say in cars.
Okay.
So you understand the principle and the idea, but the first half of the equation doesn't enable the second half of the equation to actually be impactful. And so we need to work on the first half of the equation so it connects with the second half.
Okay.
And then it'll all actually be a cohesive unit.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, Richard, we're gonna shadow this together. Come on up to the baseline. So we're gonna start off in our setup position. So go ahead and mirror me. So our hands are gonna face each other. If I were to open my hand here, my hand is facing towards you. There you go, yep. Your arm and your shoulder are gonna come back a little bit further. And so if you were to open your hand right now, you can go ahead and do that. See how your hand is facing along the baseline?
Yeah.
That's exactly the same position we saw from Novak and from Serena. So setup position, check out your hand, where's it facing? Relax, relax, relax. This would be much better. You're used to doing this.
All right, so you want it like that?
Yeah. And a little bit of bend in your elbow would be great. Yeah, right about here would be fantastic. Yeah, so let's just practice from starting position to setup position. I'm gonna keep adjusting you. And there you go. There you go. Yep.
So arms out, and the racket is almost.
So the strings in the hand are facing down the baseline to the right.
Okay.
Yep. Check the hand. There you go. That's stronger. Yep. If you don't keep an eye on this, and at first, probably literally check it visually to make sure where it's at, you're gonna naturally start to gravitate back towards this because 40 years. That's the reason why. Yep. That's great. Good. One more. So that's the hand facing right. Good. Now from here, your body is going to turn forwards while your hand turns inwards. And so this is how the hand faces the other direction. Your chest turns forwards and your hand turns inwards. So let's practice that. And chest will turn forwards. Yes. And your hand will turn inwards. That's how your hand is going to face to the left. Chest forwards, hand inwards. Yes. Yep. Chest forwards, hand inwards. Yeah, that's it. Repeat.
Just trying to.
And so your hand will only turn left if your shoulders turn enough. If your body's, if your body stays sideways, then your hand won't ever turn there. Yes, exactly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's feeling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all totally new stuff for you, I'm guessing. So it's going to take some processing. Yep. That's it. Yep. And that second part, let's turn the body a little bit more. So you're almost kind of facing forwards.
All right, right now I'm facing the net post, right?
You're a little short of that. You're probably like facing around over there somewhere.
What's correcting? Everything I've seen says net post.
Net post would be good. Hand facing right. Body turns forwards. So right now, your chest is facing there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get it facing over there. There. Yes. Exactly. Good. Yep. And that's how your hand starts getting turned the other way. Yep. You're putting it together.
It feels okay.
Feels weird, right? Let me show you.
Yeah.
So here's your first move. So hand is facing right to begin with. Then your chest starts to turn, and your hand.
The left hand. Hey.
Look at that. Now, you realize that you're not quite sideways enough. So watch. So you turn a little bit further. So now the hand is. You see how your chest is like just barely, kind of getting maybe around net post-ish.
Yeah.
Here. But you see now you've made that transition. So your hand turning inwards. So now we have a stretch here that we can start to release. And now the edge of the racket is going upwards first instead of the palm and the strings going upwards first. So this would lead to a natural release of the racket because of the edge going up towards contact. You're on the right track. And now it's just like these are muddy waters right now because it's just so, it's just so different, yeah. And you're trying to piece together the transition from checkpoint 1 to checkpoint 2 to checkpoint 3, and it's just a lot to process.
Try to integrate 4 or 5 different
right.
actions or moves into something that looks fluid.
Right. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, you're on the right track.
Okay.
Any questions on it?
No.
All right, let's keep going. Yep. Easy with the rest of it. Go ahead and go back to the stretch, and I'll walk you through the rest of it. You got the stretch part really nice. So hand to the right. Turn the body and stretch. And now from here, as you go up towards contact, turn your head and look at the racket for me. Right here, it's edge, and right about here, the hand has got to start turning so the strings are meeting the ball. Gotcha. What you did a moment ago was you just tomahawked like straight through it. Yeah. And so obviously that wouldn't work. Yep, yeah, exactly. And that's why pronation happens. Pronation isn't something that just kind of be added on, like an afterthought. It should happen as a byproduct of the release of this stretch. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yep. Go ahead and go back to the stretch.
Where's the racket supposed to go?
Eventually, it's going to go across to the left side of your body. But we'll get there eventually. Processing a lot. Go ahead and go to the stretch again. Hand facing right. Turn the chest. Hand facing left. And so this right here, Rich, look at the racket. The fact that this goes from edge to strings in such a short period of time is exactly why we actually hit this position. It's not going to be because you force it or like twist the racket at the last minute. It's going to happen eventually without you even thinking about it because you're letting go of that stretch and then it continues. Yep. Yeah, and eventually, wait, let me help you out. Go back to the stretch. Go back to the stretch again. Turn forwards, and then on edge. Eventually, it's going to finish on the left side because after pronating, your body's not going to stop. It's going to keep turning, and that's going to draw the racket across to your left side. But if your body stays here and you pronate, then yeah, the arm's going to finish on the right side of your body. But if you pronate and then keep turning your body, it gets drawn across to the left side. Almost. Slow it down. No need to impress me with speed right now. Hand facing right. Yep, body turns. Hand facing left, up, release, and across. Release and across. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Feels better if I put a step in there.
That's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine for now.
Man.
A lot going on, huh?
Yeah.
This is why, listen, you can't, hopefully, don't be hard on yourself or beat yourself up. Without learning step by step, the chances of a human being picking up this object and just intuiting like all of this like motion is almost impossible.
That's where I'm.
You're getting it. You're on your way. Yep. It's starting to come together. Keep doing what you're doing. Just kind of process through it. Yep. That's right. That's right. That's a good first effort, Rich. That's a good first effort.
Feels good up to there.
Yep. That's right. You're generally like you're moving in the right direction. Yeah. So that's why I'm just kind of letting you work through it. But that's good starting position, and you're starting to make this transition pretty nice and smoothly. So hand facing to the right here. It's tilted back just a little bit. It'd be nice if it was a little bit more square.
Yeah.
The racket facing your hand, but we're in the ballpark. And then this is really the biggest thing. So you got the racket dropping, the racket head coming down, and the edge leading first. And so you're feeling that out. And then right towards the end, you're starting to put that together. So you're like, okay, edge, and release. And here's the release. Yeah. So now going from here to here to here, that's the athletic release of the racket that we're looking for.
Wow.
So it's
you know, you're right. This in retrospect, I figured we could do 3 or 4. This is heavy duty. to be blunt,
Yeah, it is.
Even in 3, man.
I totally agree. Yeah,
So,
it's a lot. It's a lot to, even on paper, to process, but physically to move your body in such a different way.
Yeah.
Takes a tremendous amount of concentration.
But